Hello there, my name is Andrew Druckman and I want to welcome you to the channel because after all, the reason why you clicked on that link is because you want to learn how to get more traffic for my business page website. Well, guess what? You just came to the right place because that's exactly what we are going to be talking about today. Now, if you haven't done so already yet, consider subscribing to Traffic Magic because that is what we do. We talk about different tips and strategies to help you get more people to the front door of your business every single day. Because after all, if you have nobody at the front door of your business, you have no business because that is the bloodline to your business. And also something to keep in mind, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below that's going to give you more of an in-depth training on how to get more people to the front door of your business every single day. Now, without further ado, let's get into the action. So, my very first tip I'm going to share with you when it comes to how to get traffic for my business page website is you have to consistently keep working on your business. Now, I know this sounds silly, but here's the reality of it all. Regardless of how good your product and or services or whatever it is that you are trying to promote, if you are not willing to put your business out there and at times, of course, put yourself out there, the reality is nobody is going to come to the front door of your business every single day. It's not going to happen. Because honestly, if you're just sitting there and nobody knows about it, how do you expect people to show up at the front door of your business? And I know this sounds silly, but you would be very, very surprised how many people make this very same crucial mistake constantly and consistently. So much so, if you're not willing to do that, everything else of what it is that I'm going to be talking about today, you're going to have a really tough time getting more people to the front door of your business. And honestly, the stuff I'm going to talk about afterwards is not going to help. So that's going to be probably the most crucial tip I can give you. Now, the next tip I'm going to give you is have a strong social media presence. And the reason why this is important is because we have to understand that we are way past the day and age where people were flipping through the yellow pages, reading news articles or whatever have you, when it comes to finding a business to help solve their problem and fulfill their needs. Why? Because everybody and their mama and their mama's mama, they moved over to the internet. They're on social media. So I'm just going to be completely honest with you. If you are not willing to take advantage of social media and as well as the internet, I personally think you're just going to be doing yourself a total disservice. So take advantage of social media. And most of social media, really, it is free. So why not? So now while we're on that subject of social media, the main thing I'm going to sit here and tell you to do is to make sure you master whether one traffic source or two traffic sources tops. I would not go any more than that until you have actually mastered at least up to two traffic sources at a time, or at least one at a time, because in the grand scheme of things, even though you have so many varieties of different social media platforms of what you can take advantage of, after all, what is it? There's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, etc. There's so many different platforms you can take advantage of. But the truth of the matter is, if you try to spread yourself out way too thin, whether, like 4 or 5 social media platforms, honestly, I don't really think you're going to really be getting anywhere. Because if you're not going to at least master at least 1 or 2 traffic sources at a time and actually master it and get good at it, it's going to be hard to really get more people to the front door of your business, because when you spread yourself out too thin, you're going to overwork yourself and you're more than likely not going to see any results for your business. So don't spread yourself out too thin. Now, the next tip of what it is I'm going to share with you is understand exactly who your target audience is and knowing exactly who your niche is. Now, the reason why that this is important is because you have to understand that when it comes to your demographic of audience or whoever it is that you are trying to serve, the grand scheme of things, we have to understand that your product and or services, whatever it is that you are trying to promote, it is there to help solve their problem and fulfill their needs. And you want to show them that you are the go-to person to help solve their problem and fulfill their needs. But before you can do that, you have to understand exactly who your demographic audience is, who it is that you are trying to serve. Now, of course, again, this is obviously going to depend on your demographic of audience. And it could be variety, it could be a multitude of things, but it depends on your product and or services. It could be maybe some of the demographic of things to take under consideration might very well be that maybe they're male, maybe they're female, maybe they're overweight, maybe they're underweight, maybe they come from single family households, or maybe they come from a high income family, low income family, whatever the case might very well be. The point is, the more that you know about your target audience, the more you know about your demographic of audience, it puts you in a better position to help solve their problem, fulfill their needs, so this way you can service them properly. And do not be afraid to ask questions. Excuse me, because you have to understand something. When you understand your target audience and you understand who they are, it puts you in a better position so that this way you can craft your content around that. And that's where we're going to get into the next part of this video, is where we're going to talk about creating content around that target niche. And the reason why this is important is because we have to understand, in the grand scheme of things, if I just say, for example, just a silly example, if I was to walk up to you and say, here, buy my product, and you don't even know me, of course you're not going to buy my product. You don't know me. You don't know who I am, right? You don't know what it is I'm trying to sell you. You don't even know if what it is that I have is even legit, or let alone I even know what I'm talking about. But see, that's the beauty about creating content around your niche, because when you're creating free content, and when you're creating free content, you're giving them value. And the whole point of what it means to give value in the context of this video is that you're giving them free information, because you want them to understand that you're the person that you know what you're talking about. Because after all, they're going to get to know you through free content, and eventually they're going to like you, because the reason why they're going to like you is because you're going to empower them with free information. And the more free information you give, the better that you're going to be able to help solve their problem, fulfill their needs, because you're going to show that you're the go-to person. You're the one that you know what you're talking about. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. You don't necessarily have to be working on your niche for 10, 15 plus years or whatever have you. You just have to know is what you're talking about. Do your research and make sure that you understand the info of what you're giving, and make sure that it's adding value to them. And when you add value to them, and like I said, they're gonna get to know you through there. Eventually they're gonna like you, because you're gonna give them some really good stuff. And as long as it's good stuff, they're gonna like you. And eventually they're gonna trust you. And then when they trust you, they're gonna more than likely wanna buy your product. Now, and also the last part I wanna end with this when it comes to creating free content is that when you're creating free content, understand that not only are you building credibility with people, but also what ends up happening is that if you're willing to model after someone else, if it looks like what they're doing is successful and or it's working or whatever the case might very well be, by all means, feel free to model after them. There's never anything wrong with that, because in the grand scheme of things, if you are willing to model after someone that it looks like that they're doing something right, and it looks like they're being successful, then why wouldn't you have the same success, or at least some type of similar success? Now, don't do exactly what they did, but understand what they did, and or at least what it is that they're doing. And when you're modeling after someone that's successful, you're more than likely going to be successful yourself. Now, the next tip of what I'm going to share with you is create a lead magnet. And what is a lead magnet? So I will gladly explain that. So basically what a lead magnet is basically you are giving something away for free, obviously what is congruent in your niche and or product or whatever it is that you are trying to sell, that is congruent, in exchange for their email address. Now, there's many different ways to do this, but the main thing I'm going to tell you is when you give something away for free, it could be an ebook, it could be free stuff, it could be a discount, etc. There's a numerous amount of things that you can give away for free that is congruent with your niche. But however, though, understand that's going to be the key thing more than anything else. If it's not congruent with your niche, then you're going to have your target audience looking at you like they're confused. Because they're going to be looking at you wondering, just say, for example, just a silly example, why is it that this person's giving me a weight loss product when I want to learn how to make money online? Like, it doesn't make sense, and I'm more likely not going to buy from you. Now, that, and then that is now going to go into email marketing. Now, the reason why the email marketing is so powerful, do not underestimate the power of email marketing, because when you have your own email marketing list and you get that traffic as you bring them in, right? As you bring them in and you're building a relationship with them, in the grand scheme of things, you're building a relationship with your traffic. When it's your email list, you're still building a know, like, and trust with them, because in the grand scheme of things, when you're building a relationship with people and they're on your email list, and you're talking to them like they're people, and you're adding, again, like when I talked about free content, when it comes to adding value and building relationships with people, you're adding value to them. As long as you keep adding value to them and you have your email list, it's a very powerful thing. Why? Because in the grand scheme of things, it's your traffic list. And when it's your traffic list, can't nobody take that away from you. And that's your email list that you build a relationship with. And as long as you keep adding value to them, they're going to more than likely consistently keep buying your products later on down the road. Now, that is going to be the end of this video for today. If you felt like you got some value out of this, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment in the comment section down below, because I always want to know is that you got to say. And also remember, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below that's going to give you more of an in-depth training on how to get more people to the front door of your business every single day. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.